Coming up on this episode of Roots from LNER.
The film came out and it was like introducing Chesney Hawkes at the bottom. Then, of course, the single came out and, of course, it just went crazy for me. And then all the posters changed to the one and only Chesney Hawkes. We came in on a seaplane, and as we landed, the sun was out, and we saw all these really miserable people coming from the hotel to get on the seaplane. Because it had been raining for 2 weeks, and we just had the best 2 weeks. Didn't wear shoes for the whole time. It was amazing. My brother was my drummer, still is, and I was only 19, so he was 17 years old, and we were like traveling around the world and headlining arenas and stuff like that. So it was kind of like every young boy's dream.
Welcome to Roots from LNER. With more trains and faster services, it's freedom all the way with LNER. Hello there, I'm Jenni Falconer, and today on Roots, well, I am joined by a singer-songwriter who's best known for singing, quite frankly, one of the greatest songs of all time. He's been in the entertainment industry for more than 30 years, released 6 studio albums, and is one of the nicest men in pop. Chesney Hawkes, welcome to Roots.
Well, thanks for having me, Jenny. I appreciate it.
This is the very fancy lounge from LNER, you see, and this is where we wait for your train, which we're going to Dundee today. We'll find out more about.
Yes, we are.
We'll find out
more.
Luckily,
the weather's nice.
I know. Well, the weather actually is not too bad. Hopefully, it'll be all right whenever you are listening to this podcast. Hello to you wherever you are, by the way. If you're on a train, we're going to keep you company. It's so nice to meet you in person. Having known you, I feel like I've grown up knowing you and your massive song, which was 35 years ago.
It was 1991.
There was a period of time I was listening to Capital Radio when I was waking up in the morning.
So who was your?
I think it would have been Chris Tarrant. But every morning at 8 a.m, Chris Tarrant would play whatever the number one song was. So every morning, my alarm, it might have been 7 because I was getting up for school, so it might have been 7. And every morning at 7 a.m, my radio alarm would go off with, I am one and only.
For like 5 weeks every day. You must have been fed up with
every
it by then.
single day. Well, I like the song. I like the song. I can't believe it's that old now.
Yeah, I know. Time trundles on, doesn't it?
It does indeed. It does indeed. But look, it's lovely to chat. There's so much more than we can chat about today. Do you have many happy memories of that time of your life?
Yeah, I do. I mean, it did kind of change everything. And my traveling, as far as I know, you like to talk about traveling, kind of was, it turned out to be a different thing because I was on the road, and it became from hotel to airport to venue to, and it's kind of like a monotonous thing, and you don't get to kind of spend so much time, in each place when you're on the road. But yeah, I mean, I do have happy memories. I took my brother was my drummer, still is, and I was only 19, so he was 17 years old, and we were like traveling around the world and headlining arenas and stuff like that. So yeah, it was kind of like every young boy's dream at that point. Obviously, it had some down points as well, but when I look back at it, all I think of is the kind of fun madness of it all.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of a dream. I guess nowadays, we started getting the X Factor and Pop Idol and all these things between now and then. But back then, there wasn't
not really
anything like that. And so for someone like you to make it was quite novel and so exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I came up. I starred in a film with Roger Daltrey. That's where it all started. And I only went up for that part because I saw a potential record deal at the end of it. So that was how it all happened for me. But you're right. It was kind of in those days, it was all about finding that elusive record deal. You had to go out and play all the time, and I remember sending out cassettes of my demos. Remember those?
Cassette, yeah. Anyone under the age of about 25, what's a cassette?
What's that then? What's that?
But the thing is, before that, I mean, you kind of grew up. I suppose your dad was a musician, wasn't he? Was your mum an actress?
Yeah.
I mean, that's quite a showbiz world that you've grown up in already.
Oh yeah, it was rock and roll.
Yeah. What kind of music did your dad do?
He was, 60s rocker. So very much pop. His band was called the Tremolos. But very big band in the 60s. They had I think 13 top 10 hits throughout the 60s. So I said, that was my, I grew up on that music.
I mean, I guess then you've kind of mixed in those circles when you were growing up, and it would have been a bit like, yeah, whatever.
Well, I know, I was always excited by it. My dad's friends were all musicians, a lot of them famous. You know, my dad used to hang out with people like Jerry Marsden from Jerry and the Pacemakers, and bands like Marmalade and The Searchers and Herman's Hermits were all kind of like in and out. And I mean, we even lived in the same town as John Lennon when I was a baby.
Wow.
Yeah, so I mean, I never met John Lennon, but my dad did manage to acquire one of his pianos, so I did learn to play piano on John Lennon's piano.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
I
That is
know, I
pretty
told you
cool.
it was rock and roll.
That is cool. So then if you're growing up and you've got a rock and roll kind of like family life, what kind of holidays do you go on when you're younger?
Well, in between my dad's touring, obviously, and he did used to take us to gigs, not so much on tour, but he used to take us to gigs that, you know, if they were in London or local, whatever. Holidays were, my parents bought a house actually a little apartment in the Algarve, in Praia de Luz. And so I kind of grew up in that place. And it was every year we'd go and we'd spend kind of maybe a couple of months sometimes, you know, and we'd be those feral kids on the beach. And it was literally back then, Praia de Luz was a little fishing village it wasn't really built up or anything. And so it was, you know, we just used to go rock. We used to, like, there's little rock pools and we'd go fishing in the rock pools and, you know, just stay on the beach all day, and we'd all be burnt. And
Sounds amazing.
it really was great memories. And funnily enough, I mean, we still go there. And my parents still have a little villa there, and I was there recently, literally last week, and I went searching along the rock pools, along the rocks, and I found mine and my brother's names that we'd carved into the rocks back in the 80s. So it's
Wow.
literally a little Ches 83.
I love that.
It's still there. Isn't it crazy?
That is absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And also that you went and randomly found it as well.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it was there somewhere because we had over the years kind of, you know, done a pilgrimage to it. But I mean, it's always hard to find, you know, but yeah, it was really interesting. And then since then, you know, I've taken my kids there. They're all adults now, but we found my kids had done the same thing and carved their names in the rocks near where I'd done mine, you know, 30 years beforehand.
I mean, I love that. I love the fact as well that you've got somewhere that you can go to. It's kind of like a home from home
It's
as
like
well.
a second home.
Yeah,
It
really
is.
nice.
It's funny, you get off the plane in Portugal, and for me, and there's that smell of the land that you just can't get anywhere else. And it's like, oh wow, it just takes you right back to your youth. And it's quite amazing, really, like how sense can do that. You know, I mean, I thought music can do that as well. Of course, you hear a certain song and it takes you right back to your childhood when you remember certain things, your first girlfriend or whatever, you know. So just getting off a plane in Portugal just takes me back to when I was a feral teenager on the beaches of the Algarve.
Yeah. Were you always wanting to get into music? Was that it? That was what the dream was?
Well, yes. My dad always says I came out singing. And I think that's probably true, to be honest with you. You know, there were guitars propped up in every corner of the house, and obviously we had John Lennon's piano. And all my dad's friends were musicians, and they were always coming over and jamming and stuff like that. And they'd always have parties, my parents, you know, and there would always be musicians playing. And you know, in the mornings we'd be getting up, my brother and sis getting up for school, same as you. I listened to Radio 1, like Mike Reed would wake me up at 8 in the morning or whatever, and we'd get up and we'd have to kind of step over sleeping, in inverted comma, musicians to get to our cornflakes. I told you we saw things that we shouldn't.
Yeah, I love that. There's definitely a book in this, isn't there?
Yeah, there probably is. There probably is.
Or there's stories for the podcast, Chesney. That's what there is.
That's
It's good
it.
that they're coming out. And so then you grew up knowing it. And then when was your very first gig? I mean, not when you had your single and everything. When was your first gig before that?
Right. So my first ever real gig with a band
Yeah.
was in Slough Brownie Hut. Yeah. My
That is.
Auntie Gloria was the brown owl. I know. And I thought that gig was lost into the annals of history. But I was with a friend of mine, actually in Portugal, fun enough, Sarah, and she used to be our bass player years and years ago. We're the same age. And she was like the local reverend's daughter, and we took her over to Portugal, and she ended up shacking up with the guy who ran the beach hut and is still there 35 years later. Anyway, I digress. So it turns out that her brother, who was also in the band back then, has a copy of a video of that gig, and she showed a little bit on her phone, sorry. And gosh, that brought back some memories. Amazing, I know. And my brother on drums, and he must have been like 11. My sister was like singing as well, and she's singing like Sunday Girl and songs like that. And, my dad was like introducing us, as the first ever gig. We were called Coco. Yeah, I know. Brownies in the front row. That was set me up for future gigs.
Oh, amazing. Did you do a lot of gigs in that kind of Slough, Windsor area then? Because you're from Windsor, aren't you?
I was born in Windsor and brought up in a little town called Sunningdale. So, yeah, I mean, not long after that, because I was a piano player to start with. And I was the guy or the kid in the corner of the pub playing John Lennon and Elton John songs, basically. I was the piano man.
It's funny that you're from Sunningdale. I grew up in Berkshire, and you can tell from the accent probably. I was at school in like kind of Reading, and we grew up in Berkshire. And one day we were driving through Sunningdale.
Yeah.
And did you know how showbiz Sunningdale is?
Yeah, 5 Star used to live
We
there.
drove past 5 Star.
Well,
I was like, oh my God, that's 5 Star. My mum and dad were like, what? Anyway, they were there at the gates of their enormous house, signing autographs for loads of kids outside.
Yeah.
But anyway, I remember being beyond
That's
excited.
so funny that you went there, because obviously they moved in like late 80s, and we all remember when that happened, of course, because they were a big, they were like our Jacksons, weren't they?
Yeah.
And my dad became friendly with Buster, their dad. And he did some recording in the studio in there. And then, of course, I became friends with all of them. I loved Stedman and I were good mates. Unfortunately, he passed away recently. So, but I still write with Doris, and and so we're all mates. But at that point, like early 90s, when I made it, I was doing the same thing. There was girls outside my house and girls outside, and people outside the 5 Star house.
That's so funny. I had no idea you were around the corner.
It was 5 Star, John Lennon, and me.
I mean, who knew that everyone was right round the corner on the doorstep? Amazing. I love that. I do. You have been in lots of different bands. So you said was it Coco you said that you were called?
Coco was the first band,
okay,
yes.
Now, tell me some of the other bands you've been in, because I have seen you. I met, you won't know this, you won't remember because you've met so many people. I met you in New York once. I was in a bar with my mum. I was there for my 21st. We're just having a girls' trip. And you were in the bar, and I remember going, "Are you Chesney Hawkes?" And you were like, "I am." And you went, "I'm playing a gig tonight. Why don't you come?" And I think it was called Black Fly, something like that.
I think we were called Fly.
Fly. Okay,
yeah,
I knew it was something like that. I remember so well because you had a flyer, and that's how
that's
I remember.
so funny that I met you in those days.
Yeah,
because that was kind of like my rebellion from pop.
Okay.
Those days, I kind of. After that period of time in the early 90s when I had my success and stuff like that, I kind of like rebelled against that whole thing, because as you know, as I just said, I grew up in a rock and roll household, and if I was ever going to make it in the music industry, which is what I always wanted, it was going to be as a, part of a band and a bit rock and roll, and kind of, because that's where I came from, So when the record label kind of decided to make me into this floppy haired pop star type of thing, it wasn't really, I was never 100% comfortable with that as an image, if you see what I mean. So when it kind of like fell over, and the hits dried up, as it were, in that period, I was like, right, I'm going back to my roots, and got my brother back on the drums, and got some mates that and we formed a kind of grunge band almost, and I just turned up to 11 and shoegazed for a while. And that was that period. And I remember going to New York I think we were there for like 3 or 4 months, just trying to kind of like make it in New York. We did it in LA as well. Good times.
When you say that it didn't go in the direction you wanted, okay, so you got this amazing opportunity. You were 19. I mean, you did the film. And then how did you become a pop star after becoming the actor?
Well, it was all part and parcel, to be honest with you, because the film was very much about a young singer-songwriter, which is why I thought, ooh, maybe there's a record deal at the end of this. And I had never acted before. So my mum was an actress, as you said. And I just thought, let's just go for it, you know? And so stars aligned for me. I was the right age to be Roger's son. I could play guitar, I could play keyboards, I could sing, you know, and I just ended up getting the part. It was one of those kind of moments in life, you know, and
Well, you must have impressed them, to be honest, as well. So.
I mean, maybe, but because I'd been through it and I'd been gigging since I was, 11, 12 years old, and yeah, maybe I was kind of, ready for it. I was ready at that point. I was only 17 when I went up for that part.
Wow.
But then, of course, the film came out, and it was like Roger Daltrey in Buddy Song, in little introducing Chesney Hawkes at the bottom, and the film was doing okay. But then of course, the single came out. The one and only was the first single from the soundtrack to that album, and of course, it just went crazy for me. And then all the posters changed to the one and only Chesney Hawkes in Buddy Song.
But you became more of a focus then.
Well, of course, because, the music started to do well, and it was like, obviously, that was the way to promote the film, yeah.
So then you must have started doing the rounds and doing all the TV shows and everything else. Do you remember just performing that song over and over again?
Yeah, and many of other songs, during that period, because there was a whole load of songs from the film. So the actual promotion for that album was quite interesting, because we took the actors from the film that were part of the band in the film, and there was Nick Moran, remember him from
Yes.
Lock, Stock, and some of the other actors in the film, and there were some great actors. We had Julia Sawalha, who played my girlfriend in that, who went on to be
press gang all in
it
all
was
in the film.
it really was. If there's a couple of Lee Ross was there as well, and we were a good little gaggle, and so when we went to start promoting the singles, we took them with us, and so it was like taking the band on the road.
I love that.
Yeah, it was really fun. Good times.
Did you at any point go, right, okay, I have made it, I'm doing well, time for a holiday, I'm going to go on my own as a kind of like successful 19, 20-year-old and go somewhere and start traveling? Or was it all work?
I never had time to like just go traveling or anything like that, but I do remember it was so crazy that it was like for that first year I didn't get like a day off, and then I remember there was like 1 week, and I said, can we block that out, and so did like everybody around me, because I had a team, and they were like, right, that's the week, and I remember just getting on a plane to Mallorca with the girlfriend, and we just went to Mallorca for a week, and that was the only time that I literally got away, apart from traveling, from country to country like I did. That was the only time I could just sit on a beach.
I mean, that's sometimes you just need that as well.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a beach bunny anyway. I do love the sun.
Is that the kind of holiday that you would go on now?
Yeah, with my lovely wife. I mean, we always say the best holiday we ever went on was, actually, the kids were very small. It was the first time we kind of left them with grandparents, and we went to the Maldives for 10 days.
I mean, I get it. I've been
Have
there.
you done it?
I have. I've been there for work a couple of times, actually, and then gone back with my husband. And it's. I don't think photos do it justice.
No, it's paradise. And I remember when we got there, it had been raining for like 2 weeks non-stop. And we were so worried that the weather was just going to be awful. And we came in on a seaplane, and as we landed, the sun was out, and we saw all these really miserable people coming from the hotel to get on the seaplane, because it had been raining for 2 weeks, and we just had the best 2 weeks, or 10 days, I think it was, and didn't wear shoes for the whole time. It was amazing.
Yeah, it's great. We took our daughter; she was 18 months old, and we discovered an 18-month-old toddlers can be quite picky about sand, and because you don't wear shoes, that means she got sand on her feet.
Yes.
So she would be having a tantrum at breakfast every morning, going, "There's sand!" And oh my goodness, it was quite a stressful little trip for us, because she couldn't stand sand. It was
She ruined
everywhere.
it.
I know. Now she's like, I would really like to go back. We're like, bet you would love to go back. It is paradise, though. It really is.
Yeah, beautiful. I haven't been back. I'd like to do that at some point. I feel like that was kind of because my wife's in-laws had a place in the Bahamas, and that's where we went for our honeymoon, which is beautiful. and they had that place for years and years and years, and it got wiped out during one of the storms
that's
over there, which is a real shame, and it's now gone.
Oh, it's so beautiful. The Bahamas is like the
another paradise.
Caribbean's equivalent of the Maldives, basically.
It is, yeah. And the place that they had their little villa at, it was called Treasure Key.
Okay.
And it really was a treasure. It was, I think at one point it was voted as the greatest beach in the world.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was like so beautiful and so remote, and like, one of those untouched beautiful gems that nobody knows about and they don't go to,
Yeah. I mean, they have got some beautiful beaches. They've got the famous pink sands as well.
Yeah.
And they've got all the swimming pigs, and they've got, I mean, the whole...
Did the swimming pigs.
They've got
That's a weird experience. Have you done that?
I have not done that. But there's just so many beautiful places there. Sounds like you have travelled a lot.
Oh, I've been around.
It does. Where's the most beautiful place you think you've been to in the world?
Well, I guess it depends on what you're looking for in beauty. I mean, we mentioned Maldives, Seychelles were beautiful. I actually backpacked around the Seychelles. That was really fun. But, I love like Barcelona, and places like that, like Mediterranean cities, like Spanish cities. Like, there's something about the Cadiz is gorgeous. I think if I was going to like go on a beach thing, if I had my choice of anywhere that I have been to, I think I would probably go back to the Maldives. But I really want to do Thailand and maybe Bali or Tahiti. I haven't done any of those. I'm sure you probably have.
No, I haven't done it over there, actually. I haven't at all.
I did do Hawaii. That's beautiful.
I
really love Hawaii. And Hawaii for me is, there's something about volcanic land that, and not to sound too kind of woo-woo, but I think there's an energy. Yeah, Iceland does that for me as well. I absolutely fell in love with Iceland.
Am I right in saying that you did songwriting trips to Iceland?
Yes, I did. Now, I was introduced to Iceland by my friend Jenni, who has been going to Iceland forever, and she's always saying to me, "You need to come to Iceland just to experience it." So I went on a little press trip with her, and have you ever been to Iceland?
I have never been to Iceland.
It's like going to another planet. It really is. It's so different. Like, the light is different, the colors are different.
Did you see the Northern Lights?
Yeah, I've seen the Northern Lights a few times, but seeing it in Iceland was pretty beautiful. We went to this beautiful hotel called the Glimmer on the side of a whale fjord, about 40 minutes outside of Reykjavik. And it can't even express how beautiful it is. It's wild, and like the weather is obviously crazy. And if you go in the winter, it's like sideways snow and just the wind, and just it's so powerful, And as I said, like the kind of, you lie on the moss, so because it's all volcanic and geothermal. Like, the whole island is geothermically heated. So when you take a shower, it smells a bit sulfury, but you get used to it. But you lie on the moss and it's warm. It's just, I can't even explain how gorgeous it is.
Yeah,
there,
no, there's all the hot pools as well where you.
Yeah, you can go. Obviously, there's the famous Blue Lagoon. But there's lots of them all over the country, and you can do what they call, I think it's called the magic circle, where you go around and you see the geysers where it explodes every 2 minutes, and then these amazing waterfalls that will all come down from the glaciers, and it's just so majestic is the word.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's quite an inspiring place, to be honest, as well.
It makes you want. Well, for me, it makes me want to create.
Yeah,
and I've written so many great songs in Iceland just because of the land and because of the people.
Yeah. Do you still travel with your kids? How many? You've got 3 kids.
3 adults.
3 adults. Okay, not little children anymore. Do they freeload and want a holiday?
Oh yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah.
Standard then. And what was your last family holiday?
We haven't done a hell of a lot of family trips over the years. We really haven't. Because my wife is from Indiana, from the Midwest of America. So holidays for us, we're going back to visit her folks, which I love, actually. It's not your usual holiday destination, go to Indiana, but we love it there. And my wife gets home and she always does that thing where it's like, oh, my land. And I understand that, I really do. So what have we done? We did Mammoth, which we were supposed to go to Yosemite when we lived in LA for a while. and there was a fire in Yosemite, and so we ended up going to Mammoth Lakes, which is very similar. It's in one of the American great parks and national parks, and that was beautiful. That was really fun. We did the Grand Canyon together. Great memories. So we are thinking, because I have 1 week in July, we were thinking either, I'd put it to them actually, we're going to talk tonight, we either go back to Indiana and go see Nana and Papa, or maybe an all-exclusive Egypt holiday.
Nice. Fair enough. Oh, gosh, it'll be hot in July.
Yeah, that's what I was a bit worried about. It might be a bit too hot. It's
Well,
like in
I mean,
the 40s, isn't it?
Depends how much you love the heat.
Yeah.
Because it's so hot. Have you ever been to Dubai at that time
Yes,
of year?
I
went
have.
to Dubai and you can't even walk. In fact, even Miami, going to the beach in Miami at that time of year, you can't even walk on the sand without
No, it's
scalding
too
your
hot,
feet.
yeah. I mean, listen, we lived in the valley in LA for 12 years, so we're all used to the heat, and it can be, what is it, 105 in the valley. It's pretty crazy, and you can't take the dog for a walk on the pavement because it will hurt their paws. Where you can fry an egg on your car.
Yeah.
So we don't mind the heat, but yeah, I know what it's like, and I've been to Cairo actually, and it is very, very hot.
But apparently they do resorts very well out there.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. And then we could go visit the pyramids, and get on a camel.
That's it.
That's like real bonding stuff with your adult children, I think.
Yeah. But it is nice to do all these things for memories as well, isn't it? I mean, I just think the more things and more experiences you can do together, the better.
You don't know how long it's going to last.
I know.
They're all going to settle down, have their own families, and then you don't go on holiday with your parents after a while, do you? So I mean, that's just the way life goes. So what I've done recently with my kids is I perform on cruises sometimes. I do maybe like 4 or 5 a year of just going for a week. So I've decided when I had these ones come in this year that I was going to take each of my kids on a one-on-one trip.
Oh, wow.
So I've done it. I did it. I took all three. I took my daughter on the first one. We went to the Norwegian fjords. That was so beautiful. Met the trolls in northern Norway, and I did the same with my youngest. And then I did a little Mediterranean one with my son. So it was just really nice and rare.
Yep.
That you have that kind of time with your kids.
Yeah, no, and also what a lovely thing to do, because it's not like they can escape anywhere. You've got their attention while you're there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And they all had fun, and they met some great people, and every trip was very, very different, and that's what it's like when you travel, isn't it?
But also you travel a lot because you do tours as well. I guess you get to see more places, or is it a bit of a busman's holiday because you're there working? You're not really there traveling, but then you've got the day free, have you?
Well, it depends. Like for me, being the guy that everyone wants to talk to, and I have to get up and do press and then that kind of stuff. Where the band go off and wander around Berlin or whatever, and I'm like, I've got to go and do TV and whatever. So yeah, it's a little bit more tricky for me. We do have days off sometimes, and we do plan things, and sometimes do little band bonding things in the middle of a tour. We'll go off and explore around Barcelona or something like that. But yeah, it can be a different experience, when you're touring.
Is there anywhere you go to repeatedly because you just love that place, not just as a place where the fans are really great and supportive, but also because it's just a city that you enjoy being in?
There's a few, to be honest. Berlin's one. Yeah, I've got my band, we're all a bit foodie. So we always find, like, there's a place called Burgermeister in Berlin, which is just the best burgers, and it's like this little hole in the wall kind of thing, So we do a little pilgrimage to Burgermeister, and I guess we always like Germany, to be honest. Munich's really great. We go to the Hofmeister beer, which has been there since for like 300-400 years or something like that. Yeah, there are certain places where we kind of like, oh, that's going to be fun. Let's plan something there. Yeah.
Well, let's bring it. We've talked about, it's been a very international chat so far. So let's bring it closer to home now. Let's find out how often you travel around Britain. When was the last time you got on the train and went somewhere?
Well, the one place that I tour most is the UK. So, and I've been everywhere, the length and breadth of this land. So let me think about it. We have friends, maybe we have friends up in kind of Yorkshire, where so I love the Lake District, love going up there. My best friend is in Dorset. So, we're always in. Cerne Abbas is the best little village in the country. I still love it so much. Where else do we go? We've got friends in Norfolk, so that's beautiful, going to see the Broads. Wales is a big one well, it has been over the years. We've done family trips to Wales, and gosh, I mean, it's such a beautiful land that we live in. Scotland, we got our friends up there, and obviously my daughter was at St Andrews for 4 years.
Which is why we are travelling to Dundee today.
We are indeed. I'm looking forward to it.
So did you get to go and see her in St Andrews often, your daughter?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I mean, I did that classic thing where, I drove her up there. We packed everything up, road trip, and stopped somewhere in the middle of England and stopped for a night, and then went up to St Andrews.
Is this one of those moments where the car is absolutely full?
Rammed full.
It's just like duvets and pots and pans
Can't
and
see
everything.
anything in the rearview mirror, put it that way.
I remember my dad filling the car with all my stuff and doing exactly the same.
And then staying a couple of days in the digs and helping her out, clearing everything and cleaning everything and making it nice for her. I remember when I left her after those couple of days and just literally crying all the way home. It's like, my little girl.
But St Andrews is a great university, and it's got such a lovely small town feel, actually. So it feels like they're in a lovely safe place because it's quite cut off from everything else.
It
really
is, and I always felt very safe with her being there. And Jessie's not much of a partier. She doesn't drink or anything like that. So I think that was the perfect uni destination for her, and she had a really great experience.
Yeah, lovely. So you've got a busy summer coming up because you are on tour. Do you know how many gigs you're doing?
I don't, to be honest with you.
Is it best not to count?
I know it's a lot. This is like the explosion of festival season right now. I've already done like 6 or 7 festivals, and it's basically traveling the length and breadth of this beautiful land via fields. So I'm field to field right now.
Okay, well, let's hope it carries on being sunny and it doesn't become boggy, because that, I imagine, takes the shine off it a little bit.
Yes, for sure. It really does. Although sometimes when the rain comes, it can be quite fun.
Yeah.
And people just kind of let all their inhibitions go. And there's nothing quite like a British, festival crowd. Because, especially as you get more further north, like I remember doing a festival a couple of years back at Scone Castle. I think they pronounce it Scone Castle. And it was like 30,000 people. And it was a retro fest as well, like a Rewind or a Let's Rock. I can't remember which one it was. And the rain was literally sideways, And so for us, it was coming into the stage, and we just thought, oh, these poor people out there, this is going to be awful. But the Scots, they're a hardy bunch, aren't they? And they just absolutely had the best time. You look out to them, there's lots of smiles. There's no point in having an umbrella. They were all kind of throwing them in the air. It was
just a bit of rain.
Just a bit of rain.
Just a bit of rain. It's nothing to worry about. Skin's waterproof. That's the attitude. Oh, well, I do hope it goes really well this summer. I really do hope. And obviously you've got, what was your latest album? It was good. It's your 6th album, wasn't it?
Yes, Living Arrows, and this album actually has done amazingly well. I'm not saying that the others didn't, but this one has kind of hit a nerve. It's the first time I've been on Radio 2's A-list for 30 years or something. And, I got to perform some songs on the Radio 2 piano rooms. And I can legitimately say I've had, 4 more radio hits from this album. So I'm on cloud 9 at the moment, Jenny. It's been a really good journey.
Amazing. Well, long may that continue, to be honest. It's been so nice to have you here. Chesney Hawkes, thank you.
Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
Thank you so much to Chesney Hawkes for joining us today on Roots from LNER. And make sure you check out Chesney's latest album, Living Arrows. And if you want to see Chesney on tour and performing that iconic song, all his upcoming dates are at chesneyhawkes.com. And if you like what you heard today, why not rate and review us wherever you get your podcasts? And make sure you give us a follow. And look out for Chesney's Quiet Coach episode, which will be out next week. And we'll hear about his travelling snacks, tracks and hacks. We'll see you then. You do you from seat 22, or whichever you'd prefer. Reserve your spot with our seat selector. Visit lner.co.uk/reserve. Roots from LNER is a distorted production.